a pretty lazy day around here.
Hey everybody, it is a yucky rainy day here today, so I'm not really getting anything done outside, and I'm certainly not kayaking or doing anything fun like that. But it struck me, today is Thursday, and what I do have to do is definitely a thrifty tip. So it looks like today is going to be Thrifty Tip Thursday. There have been some changes here to our flock. Believe it or not, I have been able to get rid of 2 little cockerels, which they're usually pretty hard to get rid of this time of year. But I had an acquaintance stop by the house about a week ago when I was working and was looking for a black copper Moran rooster, which I just happened to have one of those babies that the hen hatched. Was a little guy, and so he went to a good home without me even having to try to find it, which was really weird. And then I decided to rehome the splash cockerel that I had that hatched from the eBay eggs, and I found him a really nice home within about an hour of listing him. So if you look up on that little coop, there's my blue Wheaton. So it's between my blue Wheaton and that little black Wheaton down there. And this blue Wheaton is showing a few signs that he might be mean, and we don't do mean roosters around here, so I'm keeping my eye on him. The little babies are gone. I also found a little home for them and decided to go ahead and rehome them. This is, the crowing is starting. This is Bertha. She's a dark Cornish. She's very, very friendly. So the little guys are gone too. So that means we have reached the point in the year where we are going back exclusively to layer feed, which is always a big milestone for the year. So now it's time to start making the final decisions. I think right now I have around 33 chickens, and I have too many roosters, as you can hear. I'd like to get that down to at least 25 for over the winter. Steve would like to see that at 5 or 6, but I doubt we'll make it. So we'll see how it goes. But I have a lot of picking and choosing that we'll do, and I'll show you how I come to those conclusions in the next couple weeks. Okay, so the thrifty tip. A lot of us have got full freezers, we've got full canning shelves, we have all this food everywhere. But see, now it's time to use it, because if you don't use it, it's pointless. It's all for naught. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that this happens to when you've been working all day or you've been working outside all day and now it's time for supper and you know you've got all this food somewhere that you have to do something with, but it's just so much easier to go out to eat or go to the store and grab something fast that you know where it is. That is not how I want to do things. I want to know what I have, plan my meals ahead, and be able to use it. So, thrifty tip, here we go.
So as it is now, I have this little freezer, which is my meat freezer, and then I have my storage shelves, which are starting to fill up with potatoes and pumpkins and my canning stuff there. And then over here is my vegetable freezer. So when I open this up, I just have layers of things in here. We could do a scientific study on what ripens first as to how it's layered in my freezer. So that's not really going to work if we want to have, say, broccoli, which is clear down at the bottom, but all we have at the top are peaches and tomatoes and carrots. Okay, and the meat is the same way. I open this freezer and I've just got, here's some bones for broth, and I can't find anything in these things. So I need to bring some type of order to this process. Then there's this mess upstairs, which is my freezer in my kitchen, and that just has things I think left over from last year still, and just all kinds of stuff thrown in here. There is no order anywhere. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to bring some order to this, be able to use the food that I have so that we can not spend a ton on groceries this year. Okay, so at least I have a section of all my fruits together, and then all my vegetables are at least a little more mixed up, so I can get a better variety than I had before. But at least I know what I have now. Look at it now. Now it will have a little more in it later on, because right now we're still eating quite a bit out of the garden fresh, so I don't need as much in here, but pretty big difference.
Okay, so I have my freezer upstairs all organized. So I have like one shelf for smoothie ingredients, fruits for desserts, and I have my vegetable shelf. I have some meat. We buy groceries every 2 weeks. So I like to make a menu ahead of time so I know what I'm buying and I make sure that I'm using everything. So I like to cycle out of that upstairs freezer and go through, make the meals out of there. And then once I've used everything out of there, and I'm gonna tell you, we've got some quail and a bag of pheasant. That's gonna be a challenge. Some of you may like that, but anyway, the quail's not bad. But anyway, once I've used all that, then I'm gonna go down in the basement and grocery shop and refill that. Because otherwise I find that we will use all of one thing and everything else kind of gets old and then nobody wants to use it. So try to force ourselves and maybe use some new recipes with the other ingredients. So that is how I do it. How do you guys organize and make sure that you use everything? And I do the same with canned goods too, although I just have it down to what we actually use. So the canned stuff is not as important to make sure I rotate as the freezer stuff is, because that has a shorter shelf life. So I'd love to hear how you guys do it. But if you follow that, you are gonna save a ton on groceries because you're probably not gonna need to buy many and you're not gonna be throwing stuff away. So that is your thrifty tip for today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you the next time. He seems to be the only one out and about on this lazy rainy day. Got a feather stuck to his whiskers. I wonder what he's been up to.